I'm appalled at what you said on that pod thing. It's disgusting.
This is the After the Show podcast. It's where we get honest and real with yo ass. So sit back, relax, have a blast, because it's time for the After the Show podcast.
Yeah, hello. Welcome to the Monday KVJ After the Show podcast. A lovely little weekend at a KVJ Volunteer Army event on Saturday. We're cleaning up our little stretch of KVJ Highway there on Military Trail, which I guess starts right there at Lake Worth Road and works its way a little bit north. So we're out there, but we were done before 10 a.m., but it was already so freaking hot.
It was blazing hot, and we could have been out there all day. That road stretch needs some love.
It does. It does. It's a little warm now, so we're going to probably put it on hold until November. But
because we don't want anybody to get heat stroke.
No. So next time we get a chance, we'll try to do that. So we'll see what happens there with that. But thank you to everybody that came out. We'll try to get another project for you, which will be in the AC before November. We'll hopefully have some details on that here before too long. So thank you again. If you'd like to see the video of the cleanup and all the interesting items that we found, bags of poop, bottles of urine, used condoms. Oh, yes. Lots of good stuff.
We found it all the treasures.
Mm-hmm. Jaybird had to leave the regular show today. Got a notification that he had a water issue at his house. And Jeff said, yeah, I got a notice from Seacoast, who I guess does his water, because I left the hose outside running overnight. So it's not a scam. But Jaybird showed up at his house. We talked to him right at the end of the show, and he can't see exactly what was going on.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Now, there are a lot of people that are sending in, like Gene, who said a neighbor was filling his pool with it. But I don't know. Does Jaybird's neighbor have a pool?
Yes.
They do.
But we know them very well. I doubt they would steal water from Jaybird.
Yeah. Not that too, but I guess it could be the one on, that's just one on one side. He would have two others, right? One behind his house and then one on the other side of it.
Yeah, I guess everybody's a suspect, Kevin.
Yeah.
Those cameras would really come in handy right about now.
Now, Harold said, what about a pool leak? But I don't think that would have anything to do with the water, because Jaybird does not have an autofill pool. He has to put a hose in it and fill it that way. Jaybird said he clearly did not do that this weekend when they said it was going down. Then they gave him a specific time, I guess, when the water was happening.
Yes, they did. They knew when it went on and then when it went off. Mm-hmm. So it was on, then off.
Exactly. So that might be something to think about. Okay. So appreciate your thoughts on that. Another mystery for the bird. So we'll see what's going on. He had mentioned earlier that he had written a nice card for his girlfriend's mom in Spanish.
Fancy.
I hope he would bring that in. I'd like to hear what he wrote in Espanol. He's been working on his Spanish. He was very impressive when we gave him that Spanish quiz.
I would love to hear it.
Yeah, what does he say? He broke it down, said it was very basic. Just, basically, how are you doing? But I'd like to hear him rattle off a little Spanish. It's great he's learning the language. Pretty cool. Some of the other emails that we have here. Joseph said, props for actually talking about Diddy and the possibility of the Illuminati on Friday's ATS. Most shows would be afraid to go there. There's a 90% chance that there was an overlap between Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein. Power attracts power. Throughout history of all powerful cultures, there has been perversion. In Roman and Greek cultures, at their heights, most powerful men would have a side boy they would treat as a sex slave. Orgies would be common.
Oh, my.
One thing in common with our culture and those fallen societies, when a society gets so perverted, it falls soon after. Just my 2 cents on this sad situation. I'm 60% sure there is an Illuminati behind all this today. But like Kevin, I also want concrete proof, which it does not exist. But it would be fascinating.
Yes, it would.
And I was kind of hopeful that maybe if we got this stuff into the light that it would be inevitably exposed. But after seeing how feet have been drugged, details have been kept under wraps and locks, even though people have been insisting they want to see this information about the Jeffrey Epstein court documents, I'm not hopeful that it's ever going to be exposed. Because you think, if you got a powerful Illuminati, they're not going to let that stuff get released.
No, if there's names on there that they don't want you to find out about, you're not going to find out about them.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to get anywhere on that. And Joel said, tell Kevin that Tom Hanks runs the Illuminati. I've heard all the speculation about who they think is in it and why and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. They got some of these people out there in a weird way. They're kind of like earmarked as being sinister. And some of them I don't see. Like, I don't necessarily see the Tom Hanks being sinister. But
I don't see it either, but maybe he's hiding in plain sight.
yeah, could be.
Maybe he's the perfect leader because no one suspects him.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that we're going to get anything more incriminating about Diddy in this trial?
I hope we do, because they have him on 5 different things that they're trying to prove in court. So the 5 different things are sex trafficking, racketeering, transporting for prostitution, arson, and bribery.
Yeah.
So let's see what I think we've already proven the transporting for prostitution, because we've had multiple porn stars come on and say that they went to Los Angeles, they went to New York, they went to Miami, they went to all the freak offs.
But did they show up on their own dime and just land?
No,
And
I
here they
think
are.
no, he was paying them, because they even went on the record and said they would make somewhere around $6,000 per freak off. That's transporting for prostitution.
Okay. So you think that alone could get him?
Well, that seems to me, from what we've heard, that's already been proven. So where's the rest of it? Where's the racketeering? Where's the arson? Where's the bribery? Where's the sex trafficking victims, not just prostitutes?
I know there's more trial left. I'm kind of underwhelmed so far. Now, look, there's been some kinky, freaky stuff, but I'm not really hearing necessary crimes or ones that are slam dunks. And I've even heard some commentary saying, I don't know, I think they need to bring a little bit more.
And maybe we're not hearing all of it, too. I hope that there's been other things proven besides transporting for prostitution.
Well, and the situation, too, with, some of Cassie's testimony in this whole case is, okay, was she coerced? Some of the text messages make it sound like she was a willing participant. And I think she's saying, no, that was just kind of the language of what I had to do to try to survive. And so if that is the case, I think that the prosecution, they need to really drive that home.
Absolutely.
To make that a slam dunk that, okay, just because you hear the language and it sounds like she's a willing participant, she was not.
Show him the video again of when she tried to escape and he stomped on her by the elevator.
Yeah.
That was her trying to leave one of those freak-offs, according to her.
Yeah, they're saying, well, that is an example of domestic violence. Yes, that is domestic violence, no doubt. But what you're charging Diddy with, that's not it. That's not what you're trying to put him away. He could get life in prison if they got him on all the charges they're bringing to him. And they're saying that's not going to do it, even with that. Anna says, same, Kevin, there needs to be a gotcha moment. And right now it's just he ordered hose and the hose came. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what else they get into. And
I want to hear arson. I want to hear bribery. I want to hear racketeering, sex trafficking of victims. I want to hear all of that.
yeah, I want to hear proof that you blew up damn Kid Cudi's car.
Thank you.
That I think would be something.
Arson.
I would think that would be interesting to hear. I did see an interview that came out tail end of last week where Diddy's bodyguard, Big Homie, seemingly confirmed that Jamie Foxx was poisoned by Diddy. He said Jamie Foxx said out of his own mouth that his partner handed him an Advil and woke up 22 days later.
Wow.
Big Homie went on to state that when you come under federal investigation, they send you a target letter informing you that you're being investigated, which would explain why Fox would have been targeted. Diddy was the last celebrity that Fox came into contact with prior to his medical episode in 2023, and some would say that it isn't a stretch considering it has now been confirmed in court that Diddy blew up Kid Cudi's car for simply talking to Cassie. So these are the kind of things where if you can start getting this kind of stuff and you're like, whoa, okay, that's going to be hard to wiggle out of, but you got to have the proof. You got to be able to close that loophole. I don't know if having Big Homie say they gave him a pill and all of a sudden he winds up in the hospital in a coma for 22 days, if that's going to be enough.
That's crazy.
Doesn't seem like it. But those are the kind of things I'm looking for.
Yeah, and there's so many other questions, too. You know, what happened to Biggie? Some people say that he was involved in that. What happened to Kim Porter? People say he was involved in that. Like, there's so many smoldering things around him. I hope that they can figure out how to distinguish the truth from the speculation.
Right.
Let's get facts. Let's get proof.
And that's all we have. We have these wild speculations that happened as soon as Diddy got arrested. And all this time was going on before the trial. And you're assuming they're making this a rock solid case. They did the FBI raids on all of his homes. You're like, okay, they got stuff. And Richard even said, yeah, they collected information for so long. Where is all of it? Yeah, I'm just hoping that they're just warming up.
Right.
Because if they're about ready to wrap up and wind down, I'd be like, he ain't going to prison for long, I wouldn't think, unless there's something that I'm just not seeing out of this whole thing. Because right now, I would think a good defense attorney, which I've heard Diddy's attorney may not be that good. It seems like he's kind of all over the place in the trial.
I've heard that too.
Yeah, but if he is good, which you'd assume Diddy would hire the best attorney, that I don't know if any of the stuff that I've heard so far is going to stick. So we'll see what happens as the trial continues on. I did see that Diddy has moved to dismiss Don Richards' civil suit the same day she testified in his criminal trial.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
She's telling you what happened, and she's telling you she was a victim, and you want it dismissed?
His lawyer cited issues like the statute of limitations and vague claims, accusing her of exploiting his negative press by framing her story as a sex trafficking conspiracy. On the stand, Don claimed she saw Diddy try to hit Cassie with a skillet in 2009.
Oh, my God.
And said he pressured her and a bandmate to stay silent, even locking the door during the conversation and later sending flowers. She's expected to testify again as we head into the second week.
Good Lord.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll wait until it's all unloaded. And if they were doing closing arguments and this is all we saw, I'd be very worried about them getting any kind of meaningful conviction on Diddy. But maybe we're just getting ready to the gotcha moments that everybody's hoping for. So we'll see. Other stuff going on here today. We were talking about Tiffany Haddish and how she has a certain number that anybody she dates has to hit that on the credit report, which I thought was rather interesting. So we talked a little bit about, okay, what is for you a good credit rating? And somebody had said that if you get to 850, that's the tops. But Nina said, no, it actually goes to 900.
Oh, it does?
Prove the point by showing off, flashing her 861 score.
Whoa.
Yeah, so 900 would be your perfect credit. I guess anything over 800 is exceptional. So if you're a real stickler of that, and Tiffany Haddish, I think, was what, 675, something like that.
Yes.
Is what she had said. And on that, Nina said, better credit gives you better insurance rates as well. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it's a good thing to have. You wouldn't want to be in a serious relationship or getting married to somebody that had a terrible credit rating and had debt and all that kind of stuff where your finances were locked together. I could not imagine taking that on. That to me would just be, what are you doing?
Love, Kevin. It makes you do stupid things.
It does. That's why, to me, I loved her concept of having a standard that you write down in stone when you're not bitten by the love bug. And you, with a lucid mind, are saying, these are my standards that I will not break. I cannot compromise on these because otherwise I'm going to wind up in a bunch of heartache and headache.
And if you have those established with yourself ahead of time, you won't even go any further with him after you find out his credit score.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because you know, okay, this is my cutoff.
Not doing it. That would be the smart thing to do. Now, Denise said, years ago, after my divorce was final, my ex-husband had bad credit, but applied for a credit card under both of our names. And I didn't find out about this until about a month later. And by that time, he already had $10,000 on the card.
Wow.
I was in the bank refinancing my car to get his name off of it. And the guy was asking about all my credit stuff. And when he mentioned that one, I was shocked. And he could tell I knew nothing about it. I was able to get a form for him to sign. It got notarized. But they took me off the account. But it took a couple of months for them to block me from viewing it online. He was over $25,000 by that time.
Wow.
Look, some people just can't stop shopping or buying or whatever. They said that's actually what was going on with Justin Bieber. Is apparently he just spends money like crazy, and that's why he had to sell his music catalog. TMZ is going to be coming out with a little expose on what's been going on with him, and a big part of it has to do with his finances.
I did see that. They're promoting the upcoming Bieber special.
Yeah.
All over TMZ.com.
Mm-hmm. So that does make some sense. So I guess that's what's going on. That's why he had to sell that. But you really get to do that once. I mean, unless he gets, a lot more hits, I guess he would own those. But, are his best and biggest hits behind him? If they are, he financially could be in some serious trouble. Dude's got to get it together. But remember, Elton John's had that. There's so many celebrities that they spend so much money. And even though they've made several $100 million in their career, they're broke.
It's so sad.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And I think, too, he probably supports a lot of people. Bieber's the breadwinner for a lot of people.
He might, yeah. I wonder what his entourage looks like. Does he take care of his mom?
His dad.
Yeah.
That he was photographed with over the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if his dad has done anything that's been real stable. I think that's kind of why he didn't really grow up with his dad for a long time.
His parents were so young when they had him. They were 18.
Right.
I can't imagine the stress of being 18 and broke, and now you've got a baby.
Right. Yeah, that would be tough to deal with. Got an email from Karen. She said, my daughter has been invited to a lot of graduation parties in the next couple of weeks, and I was wondering if you guys could advise me on what to give her or to give her friends as a gift for a graduation party.
I think the appropriate gift for graduation is money, either money or a gift card, something to help them transition to the next phase of life. And if that happens to be college or trade school, money comes in very handy.
Does it need to be more than $50?
No, I don't think so. Friend to friend? No.
Okay.
50 is I think, very generous, especially if she's going to many of these graduation parties.
Okay. So you think that's okay?
Yeah.
Okay. We were also talking earlier, too, about pregnant women eating avocado, that apparently that reduces food allergies in your kids by 44%.
That's amazing.
That really is. And I had wondered what it was that it seemingly are different allergies have increased since I was a kid. And, that I guess is the question. Do we just have better recognition of the allergies, or have the occurrences of allergies increased?
I think it can be both.
Yeah. Well, right now there's such an attack on the food that we're eating, and how, especially in the 80s, it got massively processed and they're putting all kinds of gunk in it, that it does make sense that the allergies would have increased if eating avocado, something that's a natural food, a good fat, would reduce the chances that you're going to get these kind of allergies. It makes sense. Logically, I can see how it does it. And Nina said avocado makes you skinny with the right accoutrements.
Oh.
She said Ezekiel bread is the best. I eat one a day, and I have for the past 25 years, and I have been a size 0 ever since.
Wow, a size 0.
Avocado with Ezekiel bread.
Dang.
Yeah, like I said, that's the key, because Jaber was asking about it, because it does have a lot of good fat in it, but I think even with good fat, if you're plowing it down with carbohydrates and things like that, that it'll, turn into fat.
You can still go nuts and consume too much.
Absolutely, yeah. So you just can't let it all go, which makes sense. Now, we were also talking about tattoo removal on Friday, and Veronica said, I had a small tattoo on my left hand I did it when I was 21 years old, and with time, the ink started to spread, and it started to look like two small guns.
Oh, no.
And people were asking me, why do you have two small guns on your hand? Are you a gang member? She said it looked awful, and I need to get it removed. So I started the journey. It took 3 years and $2,500 to remove this stupid tattoo.
Whoa.
And it was so painful. The most painful experience I've ever had in my life.
Damn.
I would have blisters on my hand after treatments, and they were very uncomfortable. So if you do get a tattoo, Kevin, make sure you get it done by a very expensive tattoo artist that knows what they're doing. The person that did mine used the wrong size needle, which is why it started to spread.
Oh, no.
Thankfully, you can barely see anything now, and the removal did work, but I would never, ever get another tattoo. Okay.
Wow.
Thank you for increasing my fears, Veronica.
That KVJ tattoo we want to get on our butt cheek is looking like more and more. It's not going to happen.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I just, like I said, when we talked about it last time, I've opened myself up to I don't know how many tattoos.
Well, your wife said, oh no, if you get a KVJ tattoo,
Yeah.
you're getting a Ralston family tattoo.
Well, because, yeah, her and Caitlin, they're trying to figure out their next tattoo. And I guess she was just talking over the weekend about Cannon. I guess he wants one. He's 16, and I guess for his birthday coming up in just a couple of weeks, that's going to be his thing. He's getting a tattoo.
What's he getting?
I don't know yet.
Is it the KVJ logo?
I don't think so. I don't know what he's getting. I haven't talked to him about it. I don't know what his interest level is. But let me tell you, from all the pressure I'm getting in here, it's not even close to the pressure I'm getting at home from the family. They just cannot believe that I will not join the rest of the family and get a tattoo. And I'm so holding on. Like, I do not want a tattoo, guys. Like my wife is... She's trying to talk it through, and she says, no, I'm coming up with something meaningful. And so she does a lot of these, religious tattoos.
Yeah.
But she doesn't fully understand them. So she's running by me. I'm like, no, you kind of don't really have the story right.
She's quoting Bible scriptures and stories, but doesn't really know the full detail of the story.
Or like, she's like, when we were in Israel, we got that olive tree. And so the olive tree is something good, right? And I'm like, well, it's an olive branch and it's peace. And so I don't know. She's just, to me, it's not enough conviction. Like I said,
she just wants ink for ink.
She wants ink for ink.
Kevin wants ink with purpose.
Massive purpose. And it's got to be beautiful. It's got to be in the right place. It's just, and even then, I still don't want it.
Are you saying the KVJ logo's not beautiful?
I'm saying it could be, and that would make the most sense. I mean, I've dedicated a good 26 years of this thing to my, my life to this. So
What?
yeah, if I were getting anything, that would make sense. But I still just don't. Like I said, I'm a big pussy. I don't like needles.
What about this? We do the KVJ logo, but it's in olive branches.
Yeah, just tie it all together. Caitlin, my daughter, is in the tattoo. She said, Cannon can't even brush his teeth properly. He's not getting a tattoo. So she doesn't think that's happening.
Okay, yeah, you got to get on that hygiene, right?
We're working on it.
The hygiene is important with a tattoo because can't it get infected if you don't take care of it?
We've had issues, yeah.
Yeah.
We got some issues there. So.
I think it's a boy thing. Look, let me tell you, I got issues in my house too. I got a little pint-sized boy, and bathing is not high priority.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't get, though. Like, the feeling of having a gamey mouth, just you feel it and you taste it. Like, it is the worst feeling to me. I freak out if I ever, like, sometimes, you'll maybe fall asleep watching TV, and I'll wake up at 2 in the morning and be like,
I feel like a cat shit in my mouth.
I feel like a demon. I'm just, oh my God, it's the worst thing ever. I hate it. I don't know how anybody can go without brushing their teeth. It's a weird thing to me. This is an interesting thing on semaglutide that we were talking about. They've kind of been ranking the diet drugs. I think it was the Mounjaro, they said, is more effective than the semaglutide.
Depending on your individual preferences, yes.
And I think it was the test that they had done. They pitted them one against the other.
They did.
What that study was. And so Alyssa's saying effectiveness of the weight loss drugs is also impacted by which one you start with first. If you try multiple, some research has shown that if you switch from one to the next each one that you switch to will become less effective.
Huh?
Well, that's kind of crazy.
Huh.
So you need to choose wisely on which one you're going to go with first. Because if you're like, yeah, that wasn't working, let me try the other one.
Well,
you may have done yourself in.
I haven't done any of them in a long time because I had to get clean for my facelift. You know, I did that lower facelift in December. So I stopped all of those like in October. And I hadn't done any since then. But I tried a few different ones. And for me, the semaglutide worked better than the terzepatide.
Okay, and that's the brand name's Monjuro of that?
Yeah,
Terzepatide?
I think so.
Okay, it's the same basically.
One of them made me just have explosive bowel issues.
Yeah, I've heard the side effects can be a bitch.
Semaglutide was great for me. The terzepatide, not so much.
Not so much.
Not so much. Unless, you know, I want to be in the bathroom for half the day, which I don't.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like the right way to handle it. So, yeah, but I had not heard that. So something else to look into.
Yeah, everybody's going to be different. And I'm sad to hear that trying them all makes them all less effective. Because sometimes you do have to try them all.
Right. Yeah, I guess so. So there you go. Thank you for that little tidbit of information here.
Interesting.
Did you see that the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue that dropped on Friday was actually photographed at the Boca Raton?
No way. At the resort?
Uh-huh.
Fancy.
Yeah. The cover features 10 Olympic medalists. It was shot there at the Beach Club at the Boca Raton along the private Golden Beach.
It is a beautiful resort. Oh my gosh, the spa there is fantastic. It's so pretty.
I know, I've heard good things. I don't think I've been since they've refabbed it, but I hear it's amazing. Well, this is the time of year, honestly. I mean, you know, not that it's still even going to be cheap, but you can typically, as you get crazy hot, I think 4th of July is still pretty busy because people do. I think they fill up for the 4th. But other than that, especially if you wanted to go like maybe in August, sometimes you could pay maybe half of what you would typically pay in season, right?
Yes, if you can find like a little dead spot in their calendar when they don't have a big convention in the building and they're looking to sell rooms, you can get some deals, but you do have to hunt.
Well, and the thing we found too, because that's one thing that the Queen and I kind of get on, where when we get into this part of the year, she'll, you know, call around and check, and she is finding some deals, but they're like, yep, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, no problem.
That's true. Yep. During the week. Weekends are trickier because everybody's doing staycations now.
Right, but if you timed it out where you said, okay, I can take some vacation days in August on a random day, doing a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you might be able to go into one of these places you'd never be able to afford otherwise and be like, all right, it's still not going to be necessarily cheap, but some of these places are tricked out with the beach clubs that they have and the pools and all that kind of stuff. You feel fancy for a day or two.
You know, what they'll let you do, we did this at the Hard Rock this weekend. You're not allowed to check in till 3 p.m., but you can get there early and have them store your bags and enjoy the resort all day before you check in at 3 p.m. So get there early, store your bags, go to the pool, go to the restaurants, run around the property, explore. That's to me is the most fun of staying at a resort. Just exploring all the amenities on the property. Go to the pool, go to the gym, go to all the different little places. I love to jiggle doors and see what doors are locked and what doors are not. I just go around jiggling doors. And
hey, if it's open, they can't...
sometimes they're open. And if you get busted, you just say, oh, I'm thinking of bringing a gala here, and I was told I could look at this room. And
That's what you do as the excuse?
yeah, act like you're supposed to be there. But go early and enjoy these resorts.
Okay. A little insider information there. And we got some insider information. Somebody had sent me the address of the home where Travis Kelce is staying in Boca.
Oh, they have the address?
Yeah, but I kind of looked into it, and I was like, all right, you're not going to get in there. And there was a Another listener sent me, they've already done an article on exactly where he's staying, so you can find out even which specific neighborhood he's in, but it's massive security, guard gates.
Gated.
Yes. Like, you're not getting in there. It is water accessible, but I still don't even know if you're getting in there. It's a $20 million mansion. It's in the Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club in Boca.
Wow.
Is where he's staying. It is 8,341 square feet. It's got 6 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, and a 1/2 bathroom. It's got a media room with those cool little motorized window shades. It's got a temperature-controlled wine room that has a 459 bottle capacity. And they say that he got here in April. He came in with his close friend, Ross Travis, and his private chef. Plus, he brought in a bunch of his luxury cars to tootle around Boca in.
Wow, that's cool.
So not bad. And I won't give the place where he is working out, but they did mention that in the article as well. My wife has gone there. She did get the right place, and she popped in there just, see here. Yeah.
Let me see what's going on in here.
Yeah. So she's checking it out. It is an actual gym in Boca that you can go to. And I've been in there before, and they do have, I don't know about now that they would, but right before the combine, they do have a lot of at least high-end college players that are, going to go high in the draft.
Fancy.
That work out there, yeah. So that's the place in Boca. So, yeah, it's a nice little indoor training facility. Now, they did say they were not certain that Taylor Swift has been to South Florida. Apparently, she's not been seen anywhere, and they said it seems like he's going to see her. Like, he went to Philly, and they did a Mother's Day brunch. So I don't know if she's come to South Florida like we had hoped.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, so he is here at least for a couple more weeks. They said by mid-July he'll be back in KC. So if you're out, keep an eye out. I don't know if he's probably not even going out at all. He's probably going right to work out, probably going right home.
Yeah, but it'd be a good time to go in that gym and be like, I'm inquiring about a membership.
Yeah. Chicago Lulu asked, why is he here? They say it's all about not just about the training, but it's about he wanted to take himself to a place where he was away from usual distractions. I guess he really is going hard on himself for how he performed in that Super Bowl.
Well, he was sick in the Super Bowl, and he did have an underwhelming performance, but he wants to come back and prove something.
What was probably in his head, and I was seeing it, people were taking clips of him running routes and his effort in the Super, and they were just shitting on him hard.
Damn.
Yeah, so, all that stuff was going in front of his eyes.
He read the comments.
There were a lot of people that were just like, way to get in the Super Bowl, not even try. And, if you're sick, you're sick. But
he literally, I think, had the flu or something.
Yeah, I think.
Poor guy.
Yeah, but it massively got in his head. So he said, I'm going to Boca. I want, he's not even really seeing Taylor. I think he's just locked in. He's trying to get in the best shape of his life. I think it's going to be his last year. He hasn't officially said.
Yeah, it feels like he just needs to get back at the Super Bowl and prove himself.
I think that's it.
And then go out on top.
Yeah, he's 35 years old. He really didn't have many years left. So he's here. He's doing his thing, and then he's gonna bounce. So, like I said, unless you run into him in the gym or just see him driving on the road in Boca, you're probably not going to see Travis Kelce, and I don't think you're going to see Taylor Swift based on it seems like what his attitude is.
Because he's focused
Yes.
on training and being the best version of himself football-wise. That does not include partying.
It's a Rocky concept, Virginia. That's it. You saw Rocky IV, right? Where he went off to the cabin in Russia and trained there.
I did not.
You didn't watch that? You weren't inspired by that?
Did not see Rocky IV.
And Jared would be so disappointed if you were
Do
here.
you even know me?
I knew you had. There's no way. But I do appreciate all of our little KVJ spies out there giving us some good information.
Yes, thank you. That's so nice of you.
Please do. Mail at kvjshow.com. You can always give us the goodies. All right, well, we will get up on Bird's life tomorrow, find out, hopefully he's cracked the mystery of what the hell is going on with the water
Leaky
leakage.
Pennington.
So we'll find that out tomorrow. You guys enjoy your Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Goodbye.